We alive.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very long edition, the long wait for WrestleCast. We've taken a break for some while, and we're somewhat back this evening. So, first of all, it's exciting to be back. I am here as your host, Dana Abercrombie from the Koalition, the entertainment editor. I am joined by Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing today?
Doing good, Dana. What's up, listeners and viewers?
And we are joined by Danny Martinez, Coalition contributor. How are you, sir?
I am amazing. Thank you guys for having me here.
Wonderful. So this week is weeking in terms of all of the wrestling news, in terms of WrestleMania itself that's popping off. So we kind of got to start off right off the bat with the biggest news. Anytime CM Punk speaks, that seems to break the internet in a way. So he gave an interview about yesterday with Ariel Helwani, talking about his time in AEW, Brawl Out, All In, his return to WWE, and had some very interesting words for Tony Khan and how AEW is ran, and how they are two different businesses and they take two different approaches from in the wrestling entertainment. So right off the bat, I really wanted to dive into what everyone's thought was after they saw the interview. Do you feel that, he is a truth teller or he is a hypocrite? Danny.
I wouldn't call him a hypocrite, but I would definitely say that he's somewhat of a truth teller. It was nice to hear his side of things. I don't believe in all of it. I believe that he's kind of playing off to be a little bit of the victim or a little bit innocent, however you want to call it. But I think there is some truth to what he said. I think there's a mix of both.
What about you, Mr. Richard?
Let me start by saying, and let me be very, very clear, I am not an AEW fan. All right. So anyone that is thinking that I'm going to praise AEW, I'm gonna just give you a warning right now. That ain't happening. I think what he said about Tony Khan is 1000% correct, because that was something that I felt when I saw how Tony Khan handled the situation with CM Punk the first time he had an incident. And then everybody was wondering to see, well, what is he going to do? Because he wanted to be too buddy and friendly with a lot of the people, a lot of the wrestlers. So I think he was 100% correct about that and how they run. As for the business side, I mean, I don't really know how the business is in terms of what draws, what gets ratings. So I can't say for sure that I know that he is 100% right on that. I know a lot of people have had responses on their podcast, because I did see Busted Open Radio earlier today, and they say he is 1000% correct about the business, about when you're doing stuff on TV versus stuff like that. So, I mean, I know that's left up to interpretation, but overall, I thought the interview was great. I mean, more so than anything else, the interview shows me that this guy is a changed person now, because of how he talked about how he felt coming back to WWE, how he talked about what his mindset is, how he views it now, that he's not trying to come in and steal a main event spot. He is a little bit humble in those regards. We can say he has an ego, absolutely. But again, obviously, I don't really think it's a big deal, in terms of what, I mean, one thing that he said in that interview, which I respect, is that if you hear rumors about me, you think I'm a horrible person, then that's great. He's not trying to change people's opinion of him. And I think that is good, because there's always going to be somebody that disagrees with this guy or disagree with anybody to an extent. So I didn't have a problem with that. But overall, I thought the interview was good. It was interesting. And he validated some things that I thought about AEW. So I didn't have any issues with it.
Oh, the AEW slander. For me, I thought it was very forthcoming for someone who has an NDA, and he kind of described is what I choose not to speak about versus what's in the NDA. So he completely shut down what happened at the Brawl Out fight between him and the Elite, and Everyone, Larry the dog, I think, even had to sign an NDA. So I do find it really interesting that he opened up as much as he could, because I wasn't expecting really that much from him. I thought he was going to kind of pull a Tony Khan and pivot, and I can't talk about that, but let's talk about WWE. And he didn't do that at all. But I do feel that there's one thing that he was lacking, and that is accountability. You cannot be 100% right 100% of the time. There are actions in there that I believe that was both Tony's fault and also CM Punk's fault. And I think that if he would have had a bit of accountability with that, I would have had an easier time believing what he said. But he has this way of, it's this guy. And this is, we've seen this throughout multiple years of him blaming everyone else but him. And so if he truly evolved, then he would have at least said, hey, I hold my responsibility with this. But he didn't really do that. So I just wanted to kind of quickly go into some things that he said, just quickly touch upon, we don't know much about what happened with the fight with the Elite, but he did talk about, the media and the fake reporting and how that really is triggering for him. What was interesting was he was injured during that match, and we know that he had to go away for a while, and that was when he was suspended, but he was also injured during that time. That 6 months, no one in the company spoke to him, including Tony Khan. And that's where I feel, as a business person, that is not what you do. I believe as a business person and the owner and the manager, and this is your name on the company, you have to find a way to rein in grown men. And we sit down at the table and we have a conversation. And I strongly do believe that the Elite and Hangman play a part in that isolation as well. Now, I don't know the intricacies of everything, but to me, it would have felt like, as a business owner, we're going to sit down, let men be men, because at the end of the day, it is about making money. And they had a very hot opportunity to make this one of the biggest feuds of the year, but that didn't happen. So kind of what are your thoughts on the handle of that and that 6 month isolation where no one has called anyone? He tried to reach out and lawyers got involved, and it was just complicated. Richard?
Well, I agree 100% of what you said. The business definitely should have stepped up to the plate. But when he described the situation about what happened with Jack Perry and the fact that they were relying on him to now talk to Jack Perry, this is what the job is supposed to be of Tony Khan. And that's why I say he's looking at these wrestlers as friends instead of being a business owner. And that is, you cannot be a friend. And I mean, you can be friendly, but at a certain point in time, you got to understand you're running a business here. You got to be serious and you try to get people in line. And his idea to give CM Punk a show, and I know we've had conversations about this off air. I mean, I know that when they created that Koalition show, I knew that show was for CM Punk. I think everybody knew that was for CM Punk. So to hear him say, oh, yeah, this is a show, this was his resolution to just put me on a different show, it's kind of like ridiculous that that's what the resolution was. I understand they still had some drama. There were reports about there was some conversations that happened. Don't really know if those reports are accurate. If he did at some point talk with the Elite and some people, they just at least had somewhat of a conversation, but nothing was ever squashed. So that's why I say I do believe some stuff that he said about AEW. We definitely can say that he probably exaggerated some things as well. But as far as the stuff with Tony Khan, I 100% think that he is accurate about that, just because I understand Tony Khan is a nice guy. I believe that you have had an opportunity to be in some of these interview sessions that he's had. I heard he's a very nice guy. But the thing is, when you're running a business and you have a lot of people, a lot of wrestlers have egos, you have to talk to these people and get on the same page with them, let them know that you're in charge here, and you got to do a better job of that. So that's why I say, yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. But I will, the last point I will say before you go to Danny, I didn't know this interview was coming. But when I knew that he was having this interview with Ariel, I already knew he was going to talk about a lot of stuff, because this guy is who he spoke to initially when he left WWE. I mean, this is a while back. He's had interviews with this guy in the past. So I knew that guy was going to get some answers out of him on some stuff. I didn't know to what extent he was going to be able to talk about certain things. But I think it was a very good interview in terms of giving you an idea of his point of view, and then of how he views the business now. Because like he said with his return promo, he's not here to make friends, he's here to make money. That's very clear. But what he talked about, how WWE operates as a business, how they are trying to make money and do all this other stuff, I really think there is a lot of knowledge there. And obviously him coming back and being able to talk to Triple H, being able to talk to Shawn Michaels, that's a very big deal, I think, as to why he was so comfortable in coming back. But we'll see what happens.
Martinez?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% believe. I one thing I do respect about CM Punk, no matter what I think about him, is that I would always expect him to be blunt, and I will always expect him to tell his truth, like what he believes. So there's no sugarcoating with him, and that I do love that about him. I do also love that he tries to be as professional as possible. And you know, he tries to. He knows he's there for money. He's not there to make friends. And that's kind of like, I think everybody should have that mindset when you go to work. You're there to work and make money. And if you make friends along the way, great. Like that's just, what did he say? That's the sprinkles on the cupcake is what he said pretty much. Like, that's great. So that was exciting to hear that he was coming out with an interview. So I was excited to listen to it when Dana told me about it. I also believe as well, 100%, that Tony is not managing the company properly. I was having that discussion again with Dana, and offline. And one of the things that I mentioned, and I didn't go into too much detail, but I believe Tony is just a billionaire playing with toys. I think he's literally just hiring. He's a huge fan. I love that about him. He's a huge wrestling fan, but he's buying these wrestlers like they were action figures, and he's playing with them, and that's all he's doing. And that's part of the interview that CM Punk had, was that he said that he doesn't know what the direction or the goal of the company is. He guesses it's probably just to make great matches, but is that it? Like, he doesn't know. Nobody knows. So Tony is just playing with his toys, and he's having a good time with all the money that he has. And I don't think he really has a sense of direction of where the business is going. So I 100% believe that he doesn't know what he's doing. Aside from that, his maturity, like, I think CM Punk's maturity has changed a lot too. When it comes to, I think he had to learn the hard way, the experience of the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And he saw that with AEW. So now he's back in WWE, especially now with new management, with he who shall not be named is gone now. So like, things are hopefully getting better for him.
Yeah. And also, speaking of he who shall not be named, I thought he gave an amazing response to that whole incident. It was a really interesting segue from he who shall not be named to Chris Benoit to Jeffrey Dahmer. But kind of to touch upon the bigger. Oh, Richard, you have something to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, I did like that he made that comparison as well, and how he described it. I mean, I remember all the stuff with Chris Benoit. It's very horrifying. And I did see the Raw they were talking about, where the wrestlers were crying, and then they find out like a day or so later, yeah, this guy is a complete monster. So, yeah, I think that was good. I think that was a good response.
It was an excellent response, and just like because it was heartbreaking. I was there in the thick of it when that happened, and Jesus, that was tough. But wanted to go on really quickly about kind of what you touched upon, which was how the companies are ran differently. One of the biggest quotes that stood out the most was, if you're some goof saying you had a 5-star match and the building is a quarter full, we're not in the same business. Whew. Here is what I thought was really interesting about that. I think that AEW and WWE obviously are two different companies, and there's nothing wrong with being two different companies. There's nothing wrong with being an alternate. You know, you've seen watched WWE for, I don't know, 60 years. Here's something different. We all have different tastes and things that we like and dislike. Great, that's wonderful. But here's the thing here. I feel that, yes, as you guys said, Tony Khan is buying up wrestlers just out of the blue, and this is his own fantasy match. My issue is you have to know the audience. And your audience may be different than your fantasy booking. There's nothing wrong with that. The thing is, it started off as we're meshing together my fantasy and what the audience wants, but somehow that line just got further away from each other. And it just became what Tony's vision is completely, without fully listening to the audience. Now, does every wrestler need a 20-hour package explaining who they are? No. Do we need massive storylines to explain every match? No. But I think that there needs to be a balance. And that is what a lot of people are having an issue with. So from both of you, what I really wanted to know is, what did you think about his quote about the 5-star matches with a quarter full building? Because the audience is not there. You can talk numbers and ratings and financials all you want, but I got 4 eyes. You guys got eyes too. It's not fully full all the time.
I love how, and WWE uses this too, so I'm not just singling out AEW, but I love how these companies can lie to the fans, the audience, when they have to set those cameras up just perfectly to make it look like it's not an empty arena. So they have to move people off their seats, they have to set them up perfectly, and then it looks like a full sold out arena sometimes. So it's like it's strange that they lost their way, and it's I 100% agree about the 5-star match quote. That's one of the things that has happened, is that they focus so much on just the matches that they lost their way on everything else. And I'm gonna admit, like Richard, he says he's not a fan of AEW. I don't know if you were originally a fan, maybe, or you were excited about the prospect of it, because I sure was. I was so damn excited about this company, and I think every wrestling fan was, because they can see, or at least picture, a future with amazing storylines and amazing just everything. And the matches were there, but then slowly, little by little, that's all I saw was just really good matches every now and then, and just way too many dangerous spots, just so many dangerous spots, so many crazy spots. And a lot of people say this, it's a spot fest. That's pretty much what every match is. And this is the way people gain recognition nowadays. And I don't think Tony Khan is responding to the fans right now when it comes to that. Like, stop with that. Like, you're gonna burn through your wrestlers really fast, and you're not giving us any story. You're not giving us anything else. And yeah, I could go on with that.
Richard?
So I do agree with the quote that was made. I do want to clarify one thing. Like I said, I don't like AEW. I will definitely admit they did an excellent job with the signings they have this year. Those were some great signings. But the reason why I don't like AEW is, like you said, Danny, the spot fest, because I saw a lot of those matches they had at the last pay-per-view. I saw the highlights of the moves, and I'm like, man, this is some dangerous moves. Obviously, these guys are professionals, so they're not going to get injured every time, but it's like, why do all of that to just go out of your way? It doesn't make any kind of sense to me. And then the other thing is that, from a storytelling standpoint, I want this company to make decisions that make sense at the right time. We have a storyline going on now where you have Swerve Scott who is going to eventually get his one-on-one shot against Samoa Joe. That's fine. But I think this guy should have already won that belt because you had him in a previous pay-per-view. You threw in Adam Page once again, a guy who he has already beaten twice. And I think a lot of people are saying, why haven't they pulled the trigger yet and just gave Swerve the belt? Well, I expect it to happen at Dynasty this month. And that will be a sold-out show, by the way. And I heard that Dana will be in attendance. So I look forward to hearing what she has to say about the live event. But I just want to be clear. When I say I don't like AEW, I definitely understand the potential because I actually like a lot of people that are in AEW, some of the wrestlers, and I wish them well. But I don't really know what they're doing in terms of the clear direction of what they want to do with this company. It can very well improve over time, or it can get worse, or it can stay the same. But I do think they will definitely feel some pressure to continue to improve because they're looking at the competition with WWE. They may, and I do want to make a comment because I did see after that CM Punk interview yesterday, a lot of the wrestlers at AEW coming out and saying, AEW has changed my life. That made me wonder, did Tony Khan tell them, hey, I need you to respond to this? Or, I mean, I was confused about that. But, yeah, I do hope they are successful. But I don't have a lot of interest in watching because I haven't seen something yet that makes me want to watch. But we'll see if that changes in the future. It can definitely change. Yeah.
I just want to say I am an AEW fan, so beat up on those two, not me.
Do you mind if I ask why?
See, here's the thing. I'm like you, Danny. I was team AEW. Every match, every show. Remember the Dark, and then After Dark, whatever. Remember the 2 YouTube shows, Elevation and Dark. Watched it repeatedly. I'm there. I'm like, oh, these are wrestlers that I felt would not have gotten a chance to shine in WWE at that time. Especially with Vince, he who should not be named, running that company and everything else. And these are true talents that you are kind of hindering because of their look, because of their style. So for me, that's why I loved AEW. Then we got into these matches were great and amazing, and the storylines that they told were really great and amazing. And then you started adding more people, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I'm not going to complain because you didn't do a video package. That caused me to research, and we have a thing called YouTube, and watch their matches and see what they can bring in. So to me, it was like that was a true alternative. You're bringing us something that we've never seen before from people that would have never really made it in WWE. And at the time, it was giving good storylines at that time and that moment. And with every signee, it was like, oh, it's going to get bigger and bigger. And we had homegrown talent. Darby Allin. What the heck is a Darby Allin? Who's a MJF? Wasn't that kid on Rosie O'Donnell? Why is he a wrestler? Why is he singing? And even remember the segments, there was like weird things where they would go into a full musical. And then they had other segments that was just really great but unique storytelling. And that's what grabbed me. I love storytelling. That's why I watched WWE as a kid. Kane and Undertaker, that you couldn't tell me that wasn't real. Big Boss Man and that whole Big Show situation with the grave. Yay. But after a while, we just lost that. It became match after match, champion for champion. Why are there so many belts? And WWE has its flaws. Plenty of more flaws than what AEW has. It's a 5-year company versus a 200-old company. So they have more flaws as well. But I just started to see a decline in my interest because the story wasn't there. And I know you don't need stories for everything, but just give me a reason as to why you're fighting. We all know the storylines are not real, but why? Keep me in that world. And yes, I can always be amazed by the matches, but I need a little bit something more. Or it's just match after match after match. I can kind of watch a boxing match if I wanted that, a UFC fight. If I really wanted that, Europe, and I know you don't brand yourself as entertainment. You have that whole entertainment and wrestlers. Fine, cool, but I need something. And that's kind of was the issue for me. I'm tuning in for really great matches, but I kind of want some story to go with the matches. And that's why, and again, WWE has 200 more years of experience. And let's not forget, not just a couple years ago, WWE was in the toilet. That's why AEW was successful, because WWE was failing so immensely. So I do think that AEW can recover. Look at WWE, even the highs and lows with he who must not be named, who was in the company at the time. We saw greatness, and we saw like, this is garbage poop. We saw literal dog food being poured on people. So I think that, AEW is not the worst of the worst, and I don't think it'll ever be the worst of the worst, but there is a lot of room for improvement that I would like to see. So that for me is kind of why I still stick with AEW, because I do like the matches.
That's fair.
And I like it, but we need a little bit something to keep me from, like I can watch the pay-per-views, but I need something else. So that to me was like interesting, but to kind of like go on with a little bit more with the AEW bigger news, second biggest news was they released a bunch of talent. Not a bunch, it was like 9 people. And the reason why this really spoke out, because, wrestlers get released all the time. It's really sad, for them, their income, families, with their careers. We want them all to be successful elsewhere, and they're all free agents, and we hope they find success. But what was really interesting was I was wondering, is they releasing talent considered, is this best for business, or is this a broken promise? And the reason why I asked, is this a broken promise, is because Tony Khan in the very beginning has always stated that he would not release talent. If you're assigned to a 3-year deal, you're there for 3 years. 1 year, you're there for 1 year. We'll renew, we will negotiate. If we part ways, we part ways. But that was always the belief was, always he was telling us that that's what happened. But here's the thing with AEW decided to reach a number of talent due to evaluating their talent roster and making cuts to benefit both the company and the talents. So do you feel that was the right move to make, Danny?
So, I mean, the answer to your first question, is it business or is it broken promises? It's 100% both. Because I think Tony Khan put himself in a situation where, again, this goes back to CM Punk, saying that Tony Khan doesn't know what he's doing. I think he's throwing a lot of money to people because he knows their talent, he knows there's potential, and he could use them for something. And he's spending so much money, and I think he still doesn't understand that business aspect of it just yet. So I think now either somebody approached him, or he's just realizing now that, like, oh shit, I spent too much money. I need to start making cuts. So, I mean, I do believe it is business. I think it was right to start cutting some people. Unfortunately, like, I don't want anyone to lose their job, but I think cutting people would be the right move, so that way they can focus on a smaller roster of people, a smaller amount of staff, save some money, of course, things like that. And further to that point is that a lot of the people, again, not an insult, like I'm sure a lot of these wrestlers and a lot of these staff, they have fans. There's nothing wrong with it, but a lot of these people were not being used, and a lot of these people, I barely know them. Like, I know maybe a few, they were probably in Ring of Honor and stuff like that. I know of them, but they were not money makers. They were not going to be the ones to attract me to turn on the television or my computer screen and stream their content and stuff. Like, it's understandable that they had to go.
Right. Very, very true. And then also, just to counterpoint, not to dump on AEW, remember when AEW was launching and becoming very successful, what did WWE do as a response? They gobbled all of the indie talent, even those that they didn't use, in order to, like, block people from going to AEW. So just to, like, balance, like, nobody's harping, beating down on AEW. WWE did the same tactic as well. I think that when you have people like Mercedes Moné, Okada, that's a lot of money. Where is that money coming from? Especially, again, I'm not sitting through your financial papers, but you're not pulling in that audience that you did during the high times. So I agree with talent does need to be cut. A lot of these people are from Ring of Honor, and I'm kind of wondering, was Ring of Honor kind of not a mistake purchase, but I feel like it's being really underutilized. And I'm just wondering, will this soon go on the back burner? Because no, it doesn't have any streaming deal. It has a streaming deal, but it's like on Fight TV and maybe Bleacher Report. It's nothing that's really huge right now. It's not on TV. HBO Max, we're still waiting for that for like the past 20 years. Are they going to put any AEW programming aside from the reality TV show on there? So I was wondering if it's sustainable at this point. Do you feel that it's sustainable?
Ring of Honor or AEW, you mean?
No, Ring of Honor. I think, you know, yeah, because as we know, as CM Punk said, as long as Tony keeps putting money in it, it'll be sustainable.
I mean, it can go both ways. It could be completely neglected. I would try to like understand what Tony Khan's mindset was for even purchasing the company at all, but like maybe he was trying to turn Ring of Honor into like their version of NXT, like, you know, development for them so they can move them up to like the actual brand or something. But he's not utilizing it properly, if at all. And I think if it keeps on going down that rabbit hole of him spending all this money on these big names, and I was venting on Twitter very often about Mercedes Moné being, you know, AEW bound, and apparently she's the highest paid woman wrestler right now, like more so than Charlotte Flair, because I guess Khan wanted her. And I love Moné; she's amazing. And I think whatever money she gets, she deserves. But what upsets me was that I was expecting her to blow up big for the first month or two, maybe 3, and then she's gone. I guarantee you she's not going to be utilized properly. Same thing with Okada. Same thing with what's his name? I don't think they're going to be utilized properly. They're not. They're gonna make it big. They're gonna bring some big ratings for the first couple months, and then they're gonna disappear because Tony Khan doesn't know what he's doing, and he's gonna find the new next shiny thing, and then they're gonna get overshadowed. But they got their money, so who cares?
Yeesh. Do you believe that it was right that she stated that she'll go back to WWE?
Well, she's already said she'll 100% go back. Like she said that this is her time in AEW. She understands that it's not going to be forever, and she'll be back in WWE. She said so herself. How long that's going to take, that's up for debate, is really the question. Like I honestly give it 6 months. Look at Paige. Paige showed up. I was excited for her coming back. Like she was given that comeback just like Edge did when he first came back, and it was great. It was amazing. And what is she doing now?
Jeez. Well, but oh dear. Here's why I think Mercedes could be okay and not fall into the Paige Edge situationship. They did market Mercedes with her movies. And because it is tied to Warner Brothers Discovery, it was very weird, by the way, seeing Warner Brothers Discovery advertise a Disney show. But she could be utilized in that aspect, where they do that crossover with more movies with Mercedes tied into AEW. So maybe that's something.
Yeah.
Even though they did have Edge, and Edge, you know, is on that Disney show, the Percy Jackson, which is very big and very popular. He was Hercules, I believe. And he was Ares, sorry. And they didn't really utilize that. So that would have been nice to see. So yes, by the way, just the names that were cut were the boys, which is from the Dalton boys. We had Dasha, who was the ring announcer, commentary. She did Spanish commentary as well. Jose, the assistant. Jora Johnny, I probably pronounced that wrong. Anthony Henry. Gravity. Stu Grayson. That double whammy there. Jeez. Parker Bardot and Slim J, which like that was at Slim J too. But well, we'll see what happens, and it is currently unknown if they will be cutting more names on the roster. So there could be more cuts ahead. So much for that statement of, I'll sign you to that contract, and it's done and over with. They don't have that safety net anymore. And this is all everyone who was released there right now. We don't know. There isn't any non-compete because, why give them a no non-compete when you didn't even do that to Punk? That makes no sense. So then kind of moving on, we're going to talk about the big night of nights, part one of the nights, which is WrestleMania Night 1. Will Reigns reign, or will the crybabies cry tears of joy? That is the huge question of what's going on. Also, can The Rock be trusted? The Rock is going all out. He has put his entire everything into selling WrestleMania and this whole matchup. You would honestly think that it was just a Cody versus The Rock match, but it is not. So what are your thoughts on this entire Rock, Roman versus Cody, Seth Rollins? You kind of forget Seth Rollins is in there. He said sometimes it's like fighting for his life to be remembered. I'm in this match too.
Starting from the beginning, when The Rock showed up and kind of stole Cody's position at WrestleMania because of The Rock's position, not just with the company, but just his popularity in general. He has a lot of pull, regardless if he's on the board or not. He has a lot of pull. I will admit that. I was upset. I was mad. I was heartbroken. I was many emotions because like they pride themselves on being so professional, and then The Rock pulls some crap like this, like, no, I'm gonna take over WrestleMania. You can just go on the side there. And then all the outcry from the Cody crybabies out there, there was a literal movement, a hashtag movement out there on Twitter to get Cody back on that storyline. And it kind of worked. The Rock took notice, or whoever else took notice, and they made some changes. And when they turned The Rock heel, I thought it was an amazing move. And since The Rock turned heel, I think he's probably one of the greatest heels right now, aside from Roman. It's been an amazing ride. Granted, they've been playing damage control for a while over the whole Cody incident, but it's been great so far. When it comes to the whole tag team situation that they're put in for WrestleMania, I think Seth Rollins was more of an afterthought, just so they can make it a tag team thing. They had to figure something out to kind of like fit somebody in, of course, somebody with a belt or somebody that's popular, so that way someone with the same kind of status as Reigns and Cody and The Rock. So I think Seth Rollins fits perfectly on it. But I feel like Seth Rollins is kind of like the odd man in this whole thing right now. The tag team thing I'm still excited for, but that's my opinion on it with Seth Rollins. And I see Richard laughing about it. I wonder what his thoughts on that.
All right. Well, my honest opinion, I feel the same way as you. I thought it was very sloppy the way they handled this situation. Obviously, I saw all the reports say, it was always a plan that Cody was going to win. But it's so stupid because right after he won the Royal Rumble, he pointed to Roman Reigns. At that point, that's the match, right? And then all of a sudden, The Rock comes in and decides, they have this whole thing. Cody had a conversation with The Rock. Now The Rock is in the match. If the Rock wanted to be a part of this, he should have showed up in that Royal Rumble match as the last person and eliminated this guy out. Because it kills their whole momentum of the whole point of the Royal Rumble winner is supposed to go to WrestleMania. That was what I didn't like about it. Now, since then, they have course corrected and tried to make this work. I do agree that The Rock is definitely one of the strongest heels. However, I would say he because of that beatdown that he gave to Cody last week on Raw, I think this guy that's the match I would like to see, The Rock versus Cody. I don't give a damn about Roman Reigns because we had that match last year. And clearly they're trying to do everything they can to make it interesting going into having a rematch. But it's just ridiculous because, you know, it's okay if you're going to have The Rock there. He's in the background. But as soon as he started beating this guy down, cussing and swearing on TV, on and off camera, that right there is like, I mean, he is selling this more than The Rock, than Roman Reigns is selling it. And the other thing that I have, like you made the comment about Seth Rollins is the odd man out. I agree with that 1000%. Because Seth Rollins, it's like, this guy is like the PG rated version of the wrestler that's talking about stuff on TV, whereas The Rock is R rated. You see The Rock cussing up a storm. The best thing that Seth Rollins can say, diarrhea Dwayne, that was a complete garbage. I don't know who wrote that joke. I don't know if Seth Rollins thought about that himself or if he got some assistance. That was complete garbage. So I like Seth Rollins, but with all due respect, Drew McIntyre better be champion after this weekend. There's no way. This guy has been on a roll for the entirety of ever since he did this heel turn. This is the guy that should be champion. There's no debate about it. And I'm curious about that because I want to see. You also have Damian Priest, right? He didn't cash in yet, so I want to see what's going to happen with that entire situation. Is that he going to pivot to somebody else, go after Gunther's title or whatever? I don't know, but what I am saying though, Drew McIntyre, there has to be something that's going to happen because I feel like WrestleMania, in terms of The Rock and Reigns, it's too predictable right now. Did The Rock, because again, The Rock and Roman Reigns, they beat up Cody and Seth on the show last night. So that's 2 weeks in a row they have beat down these guys. So my thought is, we'll get into the predictions, but I kind of feel like I want to see what they do because some of this stuff is still predictable. It is exciting because you have CM Punk involved in this thing with Drew and Seth, and you have The Rock involved in this thing with Cody and Reigns. So that is interesting. This is the reason why I'm watching, but it's very predictable. So I want to see what surprises they're going to pull to make this a much bigger payoff. But we'll see what happens.
So for me, I think they could, kind of reiterating what you said, there's too many eggs in the basket. And with that, there comes multiple different feelings that I have for this. Take, for example, we had Rock versus Roman, right? We have been wanting that for years. That whole bloodline storyline, I feel, was created for The Rock versus Roman because of the success of The Rock, because he is the literal head of the table in both success, finances, movies, crossover appeal, everything else. When you look at what Roman Reigns has gotten a lot of help because of The Rock. And we can argue that name carries a lot of weight. His family, they literally brought out the tree to show, look at what he belongs to. But we had the head. And also there are family members in there that they added that we didn't see yet. So WrestleMania could be just amazing in that aspect with the family itself. But and we waited for that for so long, to the point where it was even teased on, remember the Rock show? He had that NBC show, Young Rock. That match was even teased on Young Rock. And, we'll have it one day. So people have always wanted that. But this was before he was on the board, TKO, whatever it is. Then we had the whole Cody situation. And this is what I mean by story, because normally I do not give a flying fart about these matches of Roman Reigns wrestling. We have the Cody story. All these years, he was not utilized in WWE. Look at his father. Look at the people who surrounded him. He's trying to become head of his table, right? You look at Dusty. Look at Dustin. If I really wish they was on the same page, AEW and WWE. You can have that crossover with Dustin. He claims that he might be involved, but we don't know. But the point is this. You have his storyline, him trying to get to the head of his table. You have the part where, he was underutilized. He made a name for himself. He literally demanded attention from Triple H with that whole banging, the destruction of the throne. He demanded to be noticed. He came back. He got the opportunity right away, and it failed. And he's given this other opportunity, And it's like, will he make it? Will he not? So you have that storyline there. That's both really interesting. Then you have, Seth Rollins himself is just always that kind of Joker card, I feel. In a way, you don't know what's going to happen with him. Completely unpredictable, attention seeker. That's why you love him. He demands the attention. But the thing that I have is this. I truly do feel that even though this story with The Rock has been long overdue and highly anticipated, way more than Cody Rhodes even came back or his existence, it was bum rushed. And this is what I believe Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock, Dwayne Johnson does himself. Look at the pattern and behaviors of what happened with Warner Brothers Discovery, where allegedly he was trying to take over the literal company of Warner Brothers Discovery. Black Adam, the situation with Henry Cavill. He casted Henry Cavill on his own whim. No conversation with anyone from Warner Brothers. Hey, I'm putting you back in the movie. And here comes Henry Cavill with that sad Instagram post. I'm back, guys. And then you saw what happened there. And I believe that he burned so many bridges in the entertainment space that he had to return home because home is kind of the only place that wants him at the moment. But he's still doing what he did with Warner Brothers Discovery now. But he's actually being able to get the leeway because of look at his power. If you kind of look at you can make the arguments of what you want, Black Adam was not that huge of a financial success as The Rock made you believe it was. Mm-hmm. But with WWE, it is. That's undeniable. So therefore, he can say, I want this match right away. Give me this power. I'm headed to TKO board. Give me my name back. Give me my legacy. Induct my mother. My grandmother. Not to say that she doesn't deserve it. She deserves all of those things. She deserves her flowers. Everyone deserves their flowers. But you see the difference in the response? And I believe that he bum rushed this entire situation. WrestleMania 41 could have easily been, what is it? The Roman Reigns and The Rock. Or 39. But especially 41. So, and then if you really look at it, aside from him being not wanted in the main space of Hollywood at the moment. We know that Moana is a thing. I'm not saying he's blacklisted. I'm just saying at the moment he needs a home. I lost my train of thought. But the point is that I do feel that this was rushed. And while I think they are doing a really great job of trying to mix everything in together for there to be some kind of cohesion and for not everyone to completely riot, I would have appreciated it if this had its own separate story during 41. Richard wanted to say something.
I was going to say, well, I'm pretty sure that match will happen next year. Obviously, The Rock something will happen in this main event match on Sunday. The Rock will eventually turn face, and then we're going to get the match we were supposed to get a long time ago. But I agree on every point that you made. I do think it was rushed. I will say this, though. The storyline of where they're blending the reality with the, what can be a storyline and the fact that The Rock is the final boss, the fact that his grandmother is inducted into the Hall of Fame. I like how they are blending those lines because it's going to make people think that, yeah, obviously we know The Rock has power. He is on the board. Yes. But I like how they have the storyline where it's blending this, but they did a good job with that. But obviously, I want to see where they go from here because I don't really know what the goal is. And one thing I do want to say, and obviously this is the point of the video where people will probably get angry. I'm not sold on Cody as the major box office attraction star. Like I said before, when we already know about The Rock's history, we've seen him growing up as kids, watch this guy in his entire career. This guy is a megastar. So when they try to put him in the same bracket with Cody, even in this storyline, I'm like, come on now. You really think the people who are rooting for Cody against The Rock, what's wrong with these people? It doesn't make any kind of sense because this guy is a higher star level than Roman Reigns is. So I kind of feel like, obviously, Cody has to win because you have this storyline dragged out since last year. He has to win. He needs to finish the story, and I personally hope that the story is over because I'm tired of hearing about them talking about finishing stories. They even use it in the ad campaign for WWE 2K24. So I'm tired of that. So he needs to finish it so we can move on and do something else with this guy. But we'll see what happens.
But here's my counter to this. This is what makes the story so good. And this is also why Cody works in WWE as opposed to AEW, because the fan base is different. That's when they used to know the audience, except for Cody. He didn't know his audience. Point is this. If you have The Rock, you bum rushed our story, you've taken over control, you cursing, you know, those rumors of backstage, is it really upset because you're going by different standards and practices of what we can do? You're beating Cody Rhodes to literally almost to death. You're flaying him live on TV. You keep going. You're going on Instagram. He is the ultimate heel. Cody, and that is the ultimate baby face. You know, the guy who left the company, scratched and clawed his way back, got to the top of that mountain, lost, but never gave up. Remember that whole thing with the pectoral when he tore his boobie, and he was like, I'm gonna wrestle anyway. Right? You have the guy who's willing to sacrifice his body for becoming the champion, for his legacy. Fake a Dusty. Every 5 seconds, this man is crying. Literally. That's why he called the crybaby. You say hello to him, you know. So he is the ultimate face right now. You want to root for him.
Yeah.
You're pleading, yes. He has to win. Defeat this big bad, you know, The Rock. So that's why I feel they complement each other. And that this can make for a really great match, but that's also the problem. This is a tag team. That is the ultimate problem that we have with this whole situation. And I don't know what can happen at this point. Yeah.
And one other comment that I do want to make. I agree with what you said. In terms of the storytelling, yes, they did rush certain stuff, but this is one critique that I do have. They have planted seeds that Seth Rollins could turn on Cody. Okay, Seth Rollins has already lost to Cody multiple times. When Cody came back, he beat Seth 3 times in a row in 3 different matches. My issue is that right as soon as Seth revealed that he was going to team with Cody, and they had that whole segment of Cody and Seth coming to SmackDown to confront The Rock and Roman Reigns, right at that segment or prior to that, that is when Roman Reigns should have started planting the seed, talking about, yes, remember what happened with the Shield. Because I remember prior to that, when they started talking about the Shield, Seth Rollins was the one that was talking about the Shield. Oh yeah, Cody, I could be your Shield. But because Roman Reigns is on a limited schedule, he waits until, what was it, last week? Then he starts saying, oh, I don't know if you can trust this guy. We know what happened in the Shield. That line should have been when they had that confrontation, and they could have started planting that seed sooner, as opposed to waiting until we're getting closer to the event. Now you're starting to see Seth Rollins is moving kind of weird. He says certain stuff. He looks kind of weird. So that's what I'm saying about, yes, it is rushed, because they could have taken their time and really built that up. Because I remember that moment when he turned on the Shield. That was a very big moment. So kind of feels like they should have highlighted that a lot more. Maybe that will be a part of the video package when they promote this match, this weekend. But that is something they definitely should have highlighted as a possibility, because we already know Seth Rollins, he's lost to Cody multiple times. So he really shouldn't be trusted at all. But it is what it is.
Thoughts, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, that's another one of those reasons why I think it was strange to throw in Seth Rollins in this whole storyline to begin with as well. Like, just everything that had gone on, but way before all that, it was just a strange decision. When it comes to The Rock and Roman Reigns fighting, it's definitely a match that I want. It's definitely a match that should have happened in 39. And if it was to happen, 41 would make sense. I worry about Roman Reigns though, because if he's he's part-time and he's been on a schedule either the same, if not worse, than what Brock Lesnar was on when he was champion. Like it's bad, and he's not present. And I don't know if it's, maybe this is just my own assumptions, but I don't know if it has something to do with his health, because he did, have health problems a couple years back, and maybe it's getting back to him, which is why he's going part-time, or maybe he's getting over it, maybe he's ready to retire, maybe, I don't know. So to look that far into the future with a part-timer is hard. So it's hard for me to picture that. I don't know if, because he would at least need to be required to come in full-time, maybe 6 months, I would call it 4 to 6 months before WrestleMania to actually develop something. And right now with his part-time stuff, I don't see that happening as much as I would love to. When it comes to the Rock face turn, that's also possible. There's been a lot of weird hints that people have been, you can call it overanalyzing. Sure, it might be possible that people are just overanalyzing things, but I think it's also a possibility that The Rock has been throwing in signs that, like, I am a double agent and I'm doing this for Cody. So him turning face is possible. I could even see a strange twist, and now that if Roman loses his belt, he turns face and he sides with Cody, and now the final boss is the both of them versus The Rock, and Cody can still work full-time and face The Rock, while Roman Reigns is kind of just support and he's still part-time. There's a lot of different ways it can go.
I like that idea. We'll see what happens, but I agree on everything you said. I do want to see where they're going with this stuff here, because yeah, I mean, The Rock is the ultimate heel now, no doubt about that. So maybe he should be the heel in that match with Roman Reigns. We'll have to see how that goes down.
Yeah.
I completely agree, and just don't want him to be face, because The Rock is amazing as heel. Yeah. And I do not trust him, because this means one, but he keeps doing this, loser. So, I'm not trusting him. So then kind of to move on to the predictions for WrestleMania. It is once again split into 2 nights. There's a lovely CM Punk quote that he once said in AEW that's now really funny, since he is part of WrestleMania and will be hosting both nights. So let's go into night 1 of the matches. We already discussed The Rock, Roman, and Cody Rhodes versus Seth. What are your predictions on the winner? Anyone?
Yeah. It's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns. It's no way. Because the thing about it is, they need to really, like you said, Cody is the ultimate babyface, right? So to be the true underdog, he needs to go into that match with Roman Reigns and the bloodline rules, with all the bloodline rules against him. So I'd say The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to win this match, so that it will tell the viewers they have all the momentum going into the next match. So there's a possibility that, that Reigns will retain. That's my prediction.
I agree. Martinez?
That's the same with me. It's pretty much the exact same with me. I mean, I see. So I love the Cody Crybaby thing. But I am a Cody fan. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a Cody fan. Cody's all right. I love the story that they developed with Cody. Like you were explaining before, for like the past year, Dana, with Cody and the pectoral rip and just everything that he's been going through for the year, trying to fight for that belt. I love the story development with him. I want him to win, but I don't think he is going to win. That's my prediction for both nights. Pretty much is I don't think he's going to win. I think Roman is going to retain, and mostly because it's a business decision. I see that as a business decision because I think they're still pushing Roman as just the top person in the company, and I think they want him to break Hogan's record, at the very least Hogan's record, and then after Hogan's record is done, they do whatever they want to do.
I would have disagreed with you, but you brought up Hogan's record and AEW, not AEW, so sorry, A&E Biography did a wonderful special on Roman Reigns that was just truly in depth and heartbreaking. And he talked about the loss of his brother and the family and it was so beautiful how they did it. So I kind of agree with you there. The marketing for me just seems to be Team Roman, and also that record, Team Roman, and the fact that they're doing so much with the family tree. And look at what he belongs to, and head of the tables, and it would be epic to see cousin versus cousin, who's really you thought you was the big Kahuna, but I came and I overshadowed you. You left for Hollywood, but look what I did with WWE. So they're right there. I kind of have to agree with Roman Reigns, even though I am honestly tired of Roman Reigns. I mean, even though we barely get to see him, and I don't know again if that was a health issue. I know he doesn't do a lot of meet and greets because again. That the health issue that he has, and you want to keep your systems, your immune systems good and tight. But at the same time, I'm just kind of tired of him. But also in the very same time, I do not like Cody. I've never really liked Cody. Cody has never been something that stood out and was amazing. Even in AEW, I may have admired what you have done to the business aspect, but when it comes to wrestler, I'll put you on in the background. I'm sorry. And plus, if I was running things, I know y'all gonna hate me for this. I would have him wait like maybe 5 years, because you talked about me out the side of your face when you was on AEW, and you done smashed up the throne, and you talked about the company, and you tried to be all CM Punkish with your conversations. So 5 years, Richard.
5 years, hey, maybe we'll see. But I just was going to make a quick point and say, I think that you and Danny are onto something. We know that Cody re-signed a new contract. So, I mean, that right there could be a sign. Yeah, he doesn't need to win it right now. It could be a SummerSlam, because I think SummerSlam is around the time that record will be up. So,
very true. I just wonder how the fans will react. Will they actually riot? They always threaten a riot, but we never got an actual riot.
You just see a lot of Twitter
Give me a riot.
I can't wait to see that. Listen, if they actually go in that direction, I can't wait to see the outrage, because I remember the outrage when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and that was just so shocking. That was shocking for everybody. Like, what the hell is this? So I can't wait to see the reactions if Roman Reigns wins that match, because that'll be quite entertaining to see.
Was that the one you was there for?
Oh no, I don't think I was at that one. No, I watched that from home. Yeah, that was very shocking.
I always love the delayed reaction behind that. It took like the next match, and then they realized what happened, and then they started booing randomly. So to kind of jump, the next one would be, oh Lord, I done lost my page. Here we go. The next one we have is the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. We have the man versus mommy. They had a wonderful altercation. Once again.
I like their feud.
Sorry.
Their feud's good. I'm honestly a little tired of Becky as much as I am with Charlotte Flair. I think they're in that same thing of just like this constant, just like, oh, it's always a Becky thing or it's always a Charlotte thing. Like they're amazing, but you can't just keep relying on these two. Like, you got to use some more people. You got to use some other women, and Rhea has been killing it. So I'm not a fan of Becky right now, because I'm over it with her, just like Charlotte, just like Roman Reigns. I'm ready for something new. So I'm hoping Rhea retains. That's what I'm predicting, because I'm hoping it's gonna lead into another match, either with Bianca Belair or Jade.
That's a good prediction. Becky Lynch did say she only has 2 months left on her contract. They haven't re-signed it yet. Pretty sure they will come to some type of deal. But I will say this. I understand people are fatigued with Becky. I will give her credit for what she has tried to do with NXT. When she won that NXT title and you built up, Lyra down there in NXT as the champion. So I like what she's doing, looking out for others. And I think that will continue. I think she is going to lose to Rhea Ripley. But I will say this. Something is going to happen with Judgment Day, either at WrestleMania or the next Raw, because I saw a video earlier today. I don't know if y'all watch Raw Talk, but clearly they have been hinting that there's something is going to happen. They've been watching how Dominic has been making certain decisions without them. And then Damian Priest made a comment when he said, yeah, I hope that all of us have great individual success at WrestleMania. And then that led to Rhea Ripley saying something with him. So that's the storyline I want to see. What happens with Judgment Day? Because somebody is going to get removed from that group. I think they've been teasing that for the longest. We've all thought it's going to happen. So I look forward to seeing that. But I think Rhea Ripley retains. Yeah.
That I love that you brought that in there as well, because that is an interesting storyline. What if they all turn on Mommy? That would be something. And she doesn't have Dominic. And that would be something else too.
It would be interesting. We all know that she is the real leader of the group. So I kind of feel like if she was to win, then I could see her being more, forthright, because all the others, they have matches as well. If they lose, then I could see her being like, okay, you probably gotta, you didn't hold up, you didn't represent us well, so you got to go, something like that. But we'll see what happens. I think she's going to retain though, because I know Becky Lynch, and to go to the point that Danny made, there's only a handful of matches that they can make that are going to be big. This is one of them, Becky and Rhea. The other one is Rhea and Bianca. That is the other one. We can talk about Jade over time. Not yet with Jade, because, she needs a little bit of time. Yeah. But for right now, that Bianca and Rhea match, when that happens at WrestleMania, that's going to be massive when it happens. And that, I don't know if it's next year or whenever, but that's the match I want to see as well. But I think Rhea Ripley is going to retain that belt.
I kind of have to agree as well. I will say that I'm not tired. I don't want to use the word tired of Becky Lynch. I just want to see more of people alternating in positions. I think you have a lot of people on the talent, and it's okay if we start alternating a little bit. Take a little, maybe a month or 2 month break off, and you got your book. Go do the book tour. Be amazing with the book. Tell us more about your life history and your stories. But, bring in someone new and a little fresh. So that's my thing with Becky. I always will love Becky. I appreciate everything that she's done for the industry. But it's okay if she doesn't win. And they turn on Rhea Ripley. And that's how we bring in another, new signee.
You see Rhea too, like she's supposed to be a heel, but the crowd goes crazy for her. Like she gets face responses. Like a turn would be perfectly fine for her. She wouldn't miss a beat.
And she's extremely powerful and amazing. And as you guys said, this is a huge showdown to something else that's bigger. So I completely agree with both of you with that. So my prediction is Rhea Ripley retains that belt. But then again, I'm kind of wondering, because Becky has the book and she's been everywhere, does that mean that they're going to give her that other push again? Now she's champion and an author. So I wonder how that's going to go. So then the next match we have is the Intercontinental Champion with Gunther, who used to be Walter. Remember Walter? And Sami Zayn. Gunther or Sami?
I am a huge fan of Gunther, Walter, whichever. I think he's probably one of the best. I think he needs to hold on that Intercontinental, and I think he's still gonna win it. I think as talented as Sami Zayn is, I think we need somebody more challenging. I don't know, maybe that's the wrong word, but just more intimidating than Sami Zayn. That's what I'm looking for. A little bit more intimidating, a little bit more threatening than Sami Zayn.
Ooh, the disrespect. He's not challenging. Richard?
I think that's a pretty good prediction. My thought is that, yeah, I believe that Gunther needs to win. I mean, listen, I like Sami Zayn. What I don't like is that how they have pivoted him into this particular title when clearly he still has unfinished business with Drew McIntyre. That should have been an opponent for Drew after he gets the title. Obviously, he's not going to beat Drew, at least not, because when Drew wins that belt, then he's going to have a little bit of time with that belt. But I understand this is a consolation prize, but with all due respect, Chad Gable was the guy that should have gotten this match against Gunther, and they could have like when they had the whole gauntlet thing. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but clearly the response afterward, people was angry that Chad Gable didn't win the match, and I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't that just be a triple threat? If you're gonna have this guy in it, make it a triple threat. Then the decks are really the deck is really stacked against Gunther because he has to worry about Sammy and Chad Gable. So, and I also find it interesting how when they had that tag team tournament, Chad Gable was not teaming with Otis. It was Tozawa. So that's what made me think, okay, they're probably going to do something with Chad Gable now and get him involved, but that didn't happen. So I think that was a mistake not to make it a triple threat. But I will say this, if Sammy wins, I'm fine with it. It's good, But Gunther, I feel he needs a better opponent. And to go to what you said, Danny, I did see a report earlier today that stated when the time comes, they're going to obviously Dragunov is going to get called up. They're going to push him the exact same way that they're pushing Gunther. So that made me think, well, maybe that's the guy that has to take it off of him when his time comes. But I don't think he's leaving NXT yet because I don't think that Tony is going to beat him at Takeover. But we'll see what happens. And by the way, I'm talking about Tony D'Angelo. We're not talking about our good friend Tony Polanco. Okay. Yeah.
That would have been an interesting match.
Very good match. Very interesting how you guys talk about Sami Zayn. Poor Sammy, by the way. I really do feel that he's just been bamboozled and just ignored. And he's clawing his way to the top, but no one's taking him seriously. And they really want him because he has a huge fan base for Sammy. And I really want Sammy to succeed. But this is just not the right matchup, as you guys previously said before. This is something that, where's Drew? Where's the other people? They kind of just kicked him out of the whole Bloodline storyline. And this is as you guys said, consolation prize. So I do feel sorry for him, but I do want him to succeed. It would be nice. Hey, this is your consolation prize, but Sami Zayn beating Gunther? Ooh. I mean, again, that sounds terrible. I don't mean to say it like that. It's just Gunther, I feel, is like, remember in the old school Brock Lesnar when he was talking and wrestling and always with the company and he was that strong man? But he was like also relatable. That's what I feel Gunther is. I feel like he gives me that old school Brock Lesnar vibes. And, Sammy, again, he's a wonderful underdog character, but it's just not the right storyline. So I have to go with Gunther. And then Braun Breaker comes and breaks his arm.
That's another one. That's a good one, too.
That is actually who I thought was going to get that opportunity. But he's on SmackDown, so I guess they have other plans for him, I guess.
But you remember how everyone once in a while, it doesn't really matter which show you're on?
Oh, yeah.
They'll just cross over you and with no rhyme or reason. But Braun's literally right there. So let him just come in and start breaking backs.
That's true.
And that's it. So up next is the match that I genuinely do not care about, and I feel like we've seen it 1,000 times before. Uso versus Uso, Jimmy and Jay.
That's easy. Jay. It's got to be Jay. Because Jimmy prevented him from winning 2 title matches that he had against different opponents. So at some point, he got to get the one up on his brother and put an end to that. And I do expect to see Rikishi somehow get involved since he was invited to WrestleMania. Maybe he'll be ringside or something during the match. He will be out there in some form of fashion. But I think Jey Uso, obviously, Jey Uso is more over than his brother. Yes, he is more over than his brother. He had his boy Little Wayne is going to be there, to endorse him, all this other stuff. So yeah, it's Jey Uso. That's my opinion. If Jimmy wins, it's going to be because there's interference by Solo, stuff like that. No, I think Jey got it though.
Yeah.
This one's rough. This one's tough for me. I mostly see Jimmy winning because of interference. I feel like they're gonna drag this along more and more and more. Like, I was kind of excited for the Jey Jimmy fight. I don't remember what I was watching. It was like a WWE TV show or maybe a documentary or just a clip or something. But I remember one of them saying like their dream match is a WrestleMania match fighting each other, and they got it now. So they got it, but I'm not really wowed with the development of the story. I think that was kind of rushed. I think that was kind of it didn't develop enough because they were so focused on the whole Bloodline storyline, and then with Sami Zayn as well involved with it. And then once everything started to fall apart with Bloodline, they separated for a while. There was not much interaction aside from a couple of glances, here and there, and then eventually they kind of did something, but I don't feel anything with this. So I'm not excited for this match that much, but I pretty much just see Jimmy winning it by DQ or interference.
I agree with that because we have a Solo that's running around solo. And then remember that family tree. There is another wrestler that they teased that is in the Bloodline family. So that can happen as well. Also, Rikishi, we do know is going to be there. Rest in peace to Umaga. I miss him. It would have been wonderful to have him there as well. But we also could have some other, like I said, other family members come in there as well. And who's to say that we won't get some kind of interference with Sami? I don't know. Screw you. Bop him in the head. So I do have to go with what you said. This is going to be a winning by what was it, Jey through interference. DQ. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Did we get to Richard? We didn't get to Richard. Richard.
Yeah, he wanted Jey to win.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You wanted Jey to win. Okay, so then moving on, we have the letter match. The spot of the night would be the 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. We have Judgment Day featuring Damian Priest and Finn Balor versus Awesome Truth, which is The Miz and R-Truth. My heart, R-Truth. Okay, and then we have DIY, sorry, dyslexia, which is Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, versus, Jesus, is a biscuit, New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bates, versus 8-Town Down, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller. This is a worldwide match there. Jeez Louise. What are your predictions, Peepas?
This one is extremely easy for me. It's Awesome Truth. They spent so much time building up this R-Truth Judgment Day storyline. It has to have a payoff, right? And I'm pretty sure that would piss off Damian Priest and Finn Balor even more if R-Truth is the one that takes the belts off of him. But yeah, because the thing about it is this: DIY has had multiple matches against these guys. I like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I just don't think these guys they're going to win the belts yet. I think it's very interesting how what's the other team that didn't make it? The two guys that were in NXT. I can't think of it for some reason.
The big guys?
The guys who wear the athletic gear. I can't think of the names for some reason. that got called up to Raw. They're on Raw. And I was mad because they were not in this tournament. They lost the qualifying match, so they didn't get in. I'm thinking to myself, why aren't they in this matchup? Because they put on great matches. I can't think about the name for some reason though right now. You know who I'm talking about though. You know who I'm talking about. It'll come to me. But no, I say Awesome Truth. Awesome Truth is my pick to win this because it pays off the storyline of R-Truth finally, unless that doesn't happen. But in any event, Judgment Day is not retaining. They have to lose those belts at some point. This is it because there's going to be some type of dissension within the team. So this is one match for sure they're not going to win.
I kind of agree with that. Go on with Danny.
So all right, I did not think at all Awesome Truth, but after he explained it, it kind of does make sense a bit, and it does add to the story and the breakdown of Judgment Day further. It makes sense. On the other hand, I honestly, and I don't like this decision, but this is what I feel like is going to happen. A-Town Down Under is winning this. I don't like Austin Theory or Waller at all as characters, as wrestlers, as anything. But for some reason, this company does like them, and they are pushing them here and there and kind of testing the waters with certain things with them. So I kind of feel like that they're going to use this as a push for them more. That's pretty much it.
So let me let me make a quick comment. The team I was thinking about is the Creed brothers. Those guys put on outstanding matches. That's why I was like, why are they not in this match? But they didn't win the qualifying match, so it is what it is. I just want to make a quick comment. That's a great pick, Danny, because I keep hearing they have big plans for these two guys. So that could happen. That 100% could happen. And I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
But
if anything, your hope of Judgment Day still breaking down can still happen technically, because you can still have that tension between Awesome Truth and Judgment Day throughout the entire match, and they're so intertwined with each other, like fighting and bickering and whatever, that A-Town takes advantage and they win, and that causes a breakdown with Balor and Damian Priest, and they end up fighting at the end of the match, and then things goes to hell. It's another possibility.
Yeah,
I love how New Day is not even.
New Day's had their day.
We're tired of them.
I love Kofi and Xavier.
Yeah,
I love Big E. I will always remember, and that is actually the WrestleMania that we did go to. We were there when Kofi won, so that was awesome. That was a great experience.
Oh, nice.
But nah, son, they ain't winning this match.
I kind of agree-ish. Here's the thing. Judgment Day is in a complete disarray, and I do think that there's going to be friction. And I do think from going to previous, I don't know the order of the matches, but I do believe going back with Rhea Ripley, there might be some kind of interference. So, and we've seen Rhea could interfere in that match because hands down, physicality-wise, she can take on all of them. So who's to say that she might not retaliate and interfere in that match as well and cost them the match? So you have that. You have the fact that R-Truth, how he's been treated by the Judgment Day, the fifth member, and they won't acknowledge him and they can't stand him. The Instagram stuff has been amazing. TikTok, because the way how they've been marketing this whole, not even just the match, but R-Truth himself, amazing. So you have that. R-Truth is someone that he's a national treasure. I don't know how you can just not love R-Truth. So you have that. As you said with DIY, they've been champion before. I don't really see them in like the main front in the picture of everything. New Day, bless you. Thank you for what you've done. We need someone else. When it comes to the A-Town Down Under peoples, you're right. And also in the sense that, remember Austin Theory was basically taken under the wing of He Who Must Not Be Named and essentially his son. So I wonder, we know he's not there, but through Triple H, Bruce Pritchard, is that a wish that they continue to honor? Because, as you said before, they continue to be being pushed, and we don't really know why. So that could be one of the theories there. So therefore, it's really between Awesome Truth and the Austin Down Under A-Town people, which it will be an outcry, but they might end up winning, even though I want Awesome Truth, because our truth is just our truth right now. Come on. Could you imagine him winning and the pure joy? His joy makes us joyful. So give us some joy. Richard?
Oh no, I agree. I agree 100%. I just was gonna say, in terms of A-Town Down, it, like what Danny said, it makes sense, right? Because these guys are heels. I could imagine them bragging about the fact that they beat all these other teams to be champions. So I could see that happening for sure. But we have to wait. We have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, that's a good pick.
So then next we have is what to me is like my huge match of the night, because yay, woohoo, it is Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Sorry. Predictions.
Can I go first?
Please.
Yes. Black Girl Magic. They will win that match. No doubt about it. And I just want to make this comment. Like I said earlier, I'm not a huge fan of AEW, but ever since Jade Cargill has come to WWE, the way they present her, this just feels like a star. It just feels completely different than how she was viewed upon on the other program. Even when they had her come out on SmackDown this week, it's just like when you see the entrance, it feels like this is someone you need to pay attention to. So, yes, I'm glad that they got her on this card. I didn't know if she was going to be on the card because, this literally happened at the last minute. This is like the 2 weeks before the event, and then they announced, oh, yeah, she's going to be on the card. So I'm glad she's going to be on the card. I'm glad that for the time being, she is going to cooperate with Naomi and Bianca, but eventually, she will be having her singles run and going after all these different people, including them. So, but this is awesome. That match, I think, is a guaranteed win. We also know that Bianca has a WrestleMania streak as well. So that streak is not getting broken, not anytime soon. So, yeah, that's my pick.
100%.
I have to counteract what you said. Here's my issue with the AEW aspect that you stated.
Yeah.
WWE didn't repackage her. They literally used the exact same presentation that AEW did.
Oh, okay.
From the music, from the look. Yeah. See, if we watch AEW, we can properly critique AEW. But here's the thing. AEW has its flaws, as we discussed. But they didn't change a single thing of the girl and how she's presented. And if you look at it, you really want to make the argument. They didn't do anything different with Cody. Cody still has the same music that he had in AEW.
Oh, yeah. I know that.
So here's the thing. They knew how to make Jade a star. They just lacked the resources and the range that WWE and the connections that they have. So that's where I have to say AEW did a superb job with Jade. Now, you can argue wrestling. We have not seen that yet, as opposed to like, I'm a strong woman, which she is, and that's wonderful. And that's how she was presented in AEW. Even that's the same. We don't know what it's like to be in that one-on-one match. But I do think that putting her in this tag team is the best thing for her. And I think that is something AEW could have utilized as well, because she was very green when they made her single. And we saw it, and it stuck out more. And I don't know, because again, we have not seen her wrestle. Is that change? Has he been developed? We know that, I believe she has been training with Natty. I believe. I'm not sure. I'm just assuming, because Natty trains everyone at this point. But I strongly do have to give AEW their flowers with that. Also, again, as you stated before, I cried when I saw Jade in Royal Rumble and she was next to Bianca. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's two black girls. And remember back with Bianca and Sasha when they headlined WrestleMania, and Michael Cole was like, 2 black women headlining. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was crying. So thank you for that, WWE, because these 3 is amazing. It's really interesting that they've really not done anything huge with Naomi since she's been back. She's still at mid card, but I believe the kind of just the anticipation of these 3 black women together is so powerful. You know, for me as a black woman, she's just like, yay. And in terms of Damage Control, you know, they're all 6 of these women are amazing. Again, we don't know what Jade is in the ring, but they are amazing at this moment. But I just have to say, for me, that you know, Bianca Belair and Jade and Naomi, that's what I have to go through right now. I'm sorry, doing it for the culture. I don't care about the storyline. Culture.
It's still fair, though. It's still fair, and I agree with both of you. I think a part of that recognition that you have, Dana, about Jade's packaging, and the same thing with Cody. I think it's purposeful because Triple H being in charge of creative and stuff like that, working that stuff, he's not stupid or ignorant or he doesn't ignore the fact that these wrestlers that they're pulling that have these big names came from somewhere else. And he's using that brand, he's using that recognition to invite them over. You know, things could change in the future. Maybe their entrance will change, their music will change. God knows what, or maybe it'll stick to something else. But I feel like Triple H has a hand in this stuff because he understands that, like, you know, Cody from AEW. You know, of course, we know him from WWE years ago. WWF Cody and his brother and his father. But other people, you know, the demographic that they usually go for, they know him from AEW and listen to the crowd when they go, whoa, you know, like, you want that. So I feel like they did the same thing with Jade Cargill, is that they repackaged her but use a lot of the same stuff because everybody knows her from AEW. And I think that was a good decision. Don't ignore their past successes. You know, Vince was always wanting to own and control everything, like even people's names. Like he freaking called he changed Matt Riddle's name to Riddle just because. He Shinsuke Nakamura, he just changed it to Shinsuke. Like Walter, he just changed it to Gunther. Like they make all these changes because he wants to own their names, he wants to own their rights, he wants full control over everything, just in case shit hits the fan or whatever the reason might be. So, like, I think Triple H is doing the right thing with all that. That's my vent on all that stuff. But when it comes to the match itself, I'm still thinking Bianca, Naomi, and Jade as well. I think Jade and Bianca are like one of the biggest names right now in the women's division. Bianca is, you know, Jade is, we'll get there eventually. Naomi, I think Naomi is amazing. She's great. I think she's there to kind of just help out with everything, especially with Jade. Like you said, Dana, I think there'll be great mentors to kind of walk them through everything and kind of build her up a little bit more. So I see them winning 100% because they're going to push Jade more. Damage Control, I don't think they're the same needle mover as them 3. So I think they're going to push.
Yeah, that makes sense to me as well. And then also in general, yay for culture in general, because look what we have with Damage Control, you know, the Asian group, the Black group, representation. So the last match of, did we get to you, Richard? We did get to you. Yes. Okay. So the last match of night 1 is going to be Rey Mysterio. Oh God, I botched that. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Father versus son. Is that really his son? Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero.
He's a freaking Dom is looking more and more like Eddie. I swear, man. Go ahead, Richard.
West true, Richard.
Interesting. I do agree. He does look more and more like Eddie. I think if Eddie was still here, he would be very proud of how they're utilizing him on TV. So here's the thing about this particular story. The real feud is between Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. And obviously Rey Mysterio got injured throughout this time. So glad that they're having this match. However, this match should have been Legado del Fantasma versus LWO, because there are other people on those teams that also have beef with each other. So I'm a little disappointed about that. Maybe that's a match that'll end up happening on Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, because clearly I think that is the match people wanted to see, because they've been building that up. But I'm okay with this. I personally think Rey Mysterio wins. Dragon Lee, they haven't really done much with Dragon Lee. He lost the NXT North American title to Omar Fetty. So and he hasn't done anything since then. He just continues to lose matches. He's lost to Dominic Mysterio multiple times. So I feel like, yeah, Rey Mysterio wins this match. And this will add to the tension with Judgment Day again, because Dominic decided to insert himself in this match when really it's really about Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. So, yeah, but I think Rey Mysterio wins the match.
That's pretty much exactly what I was thinking. The same thing. It was I think this is a setup with Judgment Day again. Dominic is going to lose, and then Priest and Balor and them are going to be like, what the hell? Like, what's your problem? Why are you doing this? You're such a loser, yada yada. And there's more tension and all this stuff, and they start bicker. I think that's pretty much all it's going to be. So Rey Mysterio wins.
I agree with you. I do think that there's going to be interference. Oh, can we have interference with everyone? Because this Judgment Day is falling completely apart. What if this ends up being a reconciliation between Dominic and Rey? Ooh.
Would that be a face turn? Ah.
That would be nice. I mean, they don't want you anymore.
You mean after he loses the match and then he gets thrown out of Judgment Day? Yeah. I can see that.
Judgment Day interferes. He loses his match. He's beat down. Daddy got to come and save you. Like, who do you end up running to when you lost your family, your fake family, and your mommy? Got to go to Daddy.
I like that idea. I'm also curious to see. They have obviously been teasing something between Dominic Mysterio and Andrade as well. I don't know what that.
I forgot he exists.
Yeah, no, he's there. He's there. But they've been having those interactions backstage. It's like they're doing something with that. So I'm assuming that could become a future tag team or whatever. I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, Dominic is probably not going to win this match though. So stay tuned for some more drama with Judgment Day.
Anytime anyone says Andrade, I just have that visual of his contract being up and him. That same moment after his match, he runs literally all the way home to WWE. I can't take this place no more. And he's just running for miles cross country to get back to Triple H. So, yeah, that's an interesting thing. So, do we have enough gas in the stove for night 2? You want to break that down?
Yeah, it's like 6 matches, right? This will be easy.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, you have the card? Oh, yeah.
I have the card. I forgot to include in the notes. So, this is Sunday Night 2 WrestleMania card. Here we go. Undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns, champion. So there you go. Versus Cody Rhodes. That's the ultimate who's going to win.
That's pretty much. I already explained both nights for me, so that's Roman for the win.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Roman for the win. Roman for the win. Yeah, unless some kind of. I go with Roman. Yep. Sorry.
I just if Cody wins, that's great, but I don't know. It feels like it's going to be Roman Reigns with the assistance of somebody else, such as The Rock, or we'll see. But I will say this: if Cody wins, it will be because The Rock does something to Roman Reigns, and that will cause this whole issue between them to blow up. So that's probably what's going to happen. But we'll have to wait and see. But I'm pretty sure Roman Reigns is going to retain.
I wish we could all be adults in this situationship, and Dustin can come in as The Rock interferes, and Dustin is like, "Not on my watch." I came from AEW. Protect my brother. So next match we have is the World Heavyweight Championship Troll match. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Troll versus Troll.
That's very easy. Drew McIntyre. Hands down. Hands down. I don't know if Damian Priest is what's going to happen with him if he tries to cash in or what. But Drew McIntyre, it's his time now. This guy is in the perfect position. They've already set up this feud with him and CM Punk. Although I will say this, CM Punk is on commentary, so I want to see what happens in that match. Obviously, he can't take no bumps, but something is going to happen with him in that matchup because he's going to be out there commentating on the match. So I look forward to seeing what happens.
Isn't he refereeing? Or did they?
No, he's hosting.
He's hosting. Okay. Oh, I wish he could maybe still be a referee. Because remember, he did that whole monologue about my hand works. So, and I know they improvised that with some beats, but they threw it in there, I feel, for a reason.
They threw that in there for a reason. And then in CM Punk's interview, he said he didn't want to talk about when he could come back. But he did say this injury is not as serious as the one that he got before. So I think he will be back a lot sooner than people think, but they're trying to keep that close to the vest. But I still don't think he's going to take any really bumps or anything at this event, but we'll have to see what happens.
And to kind of pivot for 2 seconds, because you brought up the injury, isn't it just disgraceful that you have someone who's injured and you don't even talk to them to make sure that they get the proper medical care and you just leave them in the wind? Just as a boss in general, I don't care if I hate you, but it's a certain look for the company. One, I leave you stranded, which is a liability in itself. What happens if somebody attacked him on the train? And that's that is their biggest pay-per-view ever. Exactly. And you had him take the regular train in another country. This is not like, we're in New York City. You're in a whole different country on their system. That's a liability. And then you get injured, and then he has to find his own medical thing, pay for his own expenses. Okay, sorry. Rant. Because that just really, okay. Yeah. Anyway, my prediction for this has to be Drew McIntyre. We have Clash at the Castle in Scotland. Who is Scottish?
Ooh.
Yeah, you're right. I saw they announced that today. You're 100% right.
They announced that today. Plus, so for me,
Drew has his own hashtag now. Seriously. He has his own Twitter hashtag. You saw he had the tweet, and then he said, this is CM Punk's hashtag. This guy has to win. That's the easiest decision that they can make. He must win that title. There's no question about it.
He's already won in my heart. Exquisite trolling, by the way, with that Crimea River video directed at CM Punk. Oh my goodness, that really made me laugh right there. So also it would be really nice to see Seth Rollins get knocked down a peg or two. The character, not that person. And in terms of, he's so arrogant and so sure of himself. And he's like, I can't be touched. So to see him lose would be great.
I agree. I just was going to say, I am a Seth Rollins fan, but it's time for him to go away. He's very good at reinventing his character, so he should take some time off and let Drew McIntyre have his run. Now, obviously, he'll probably get a rematch or whatever the night after WrestleMania. I don't know how they're going to do that, but no, Drew McIntyre is his time right now. So Seth Rollins can take a break and go away, and they can have the whole thing about The Rock made sure that he lost the belt, and now he will not be able to compete for a period of time or whatever, if they want to go down that path.
Very true. So next match we have is the WWE Women's Championship. Io Sky versus Bayley, and darn well Mercedes Moné is going to be in the rafters cheering her on in a disguise.
That's easy.
I'm going for yes.
It's Bayley. It's Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
I think them finally making the decision to turn her baby face, that was long overdue. Yeah, she has to win. That's it. That's an easy choice.
I never liked her as heel. I never did. Like as soon as she cut up those inflatable balloon people and she went heel and all that stuff, I never liked it. I don't think she was a great heel. She wasn't a believable heel. I don't see it at all. I think wrestling wise, talent wise, she's freaking amazing. So I think she's well due for this again. I think she deserves to win. So I hope she wins.
Wait, so do you want to see the return of the Bailey buddies?
I mean, sure, I guess. I mean, it's more for the kids, but you know, I just like her. She just plays better as a face. But however she decides to do that is fine with me.
Really? Yeah. All these years?
Yeah.
She hasn't captured your one? Okay. Well, I agree with the Bailey part, not the heel part. I liked her as a heel. I like her as a face. She's very good, just in general, whatever role she tries to make it work. Even when stuff wasn't working, she tries to make it work. But I think, you know, Bailey deserves this. I love Io. Io's been champ for a little while now. There's a lot of dissension that's just going on. And storyline wise, you kind of feel for Bailey. This, you know, she's like the true face at this moment. So we're gonna get that full turn. Now, maybe not the return of the Bailey buddies, but I completely agree with her winning. I think she deserves it. Richard already stated Bailey as well. So our next match is the United States Championship Triple Threat match with Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Thoughts?
All right. Man, this one's tough. I to piss people off and because I know it's gonna piss the fans off, it's gonna piss the audience off. I think Jake Paul is gonna win. Yeah.
Wait, Jake and Logan.
Sorry, Logan. Wait, which one is which?
So you're saying?
Oh my God, I forgot.
Jake and by the way, doing Mike Tyson.
Jake Paul's doing Mike. Yes, I get him confused now too.
And by the way, let me just interrupt you and say I hope that Mike Tyson whoops his ass.
Oh my God,
when he faces him.
I'm watching that one too.
Yes.
Wait, do we want like a full drawn out match, or do we just want a TKO from the very beginning?
No, just knock him out. You know, one or two rounds at the most. Just knock him out and get game over.
If Tyson loses, you know 100% that these matches are rigged.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm. Oh
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, but he did end his show, which makes me wonder he might lose because of like the sheer embarrassment. So he ended his show. We're getting completely off track.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Logan Paul, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a fun heel. And he's pretty decent in the ring too. I actually really like him. He's still under contract. He has an actual contract with them, so he's got some time with them still. So I think he's still going to hold on to it and continue a feud, whether it be with Randy Orton or KO. Who knows? But I'm going with Logan Paul.
So I also am going with Logan Paul because it just makes sense. You know, SummerSlam is in his hometown. They announced that when they announced when it was happening. He was the one that announced it on his podcast. I think when they decided to make this a triple threat, that's what made me feel like, okay, Logan Paul is going to win because Kevin Owens will probably get pinned or Randy Orton is not getting pinned in this match. I highly doubt that will happen. But I think when they made the triple threat, that made it easier. If when it was just Randy Orton versus Logan Paul, that would have been a hell of a lot more interesting because you're not going to have this guy just pin Randy Orton, even though Randy Orton is a huge fan of Logan Paul, so he might have done that. But no, I think without hands down, Logan Paul is going to win, and Kevin Owens is probably the one eating the pin.
Yeah.
Ooh. So here's my take. I believe Logan Paul, for me, was born to be a wrestler. The entertainment, the athleticism, the way how he just takes control of everything. I don't think he had like one bad match. Things may have not completely worked out, but to say, oh, that match was just the worst thing ever. No. To me, he's just amazing, and he seems to evolve with every kind of match that he has, and you see that he wants to learn, and he is learning, and I love that about him. I, however, want to go with Randy Orton. I mean, it's just this. I see Randy Orton can win, and then Logan Paul can defeat him come SummerSlam, and that way, you know, hometown hero. I won, yay! that to me is more compelling if I'm from that area and I'm a Logan Paul fan to watch. So give Randy Orton, yeah.
Oh no, I'll go after you. I will make a comment after you.
I was gonna just say, give Randy Orton. He's been gone away for so long. He's come back. He's amazing. He's incredibly jacked. Give Randy Orton his flowers and let him win a match. Come back for something. Especially, Logan Paul is one of those weird people where it's like you hate to love him, but at the same time you just gotta love him because he's just that great in the ring. But Logan Paul the person, you're like, oh, I can't stand him. So that is a way to kind of like fulfill, like he films dead people in the trees with that whole video thing. Point is this. I feel that Randy Orton, is someone who should win this. He deserves it right now. He's on such a great kind of streak and a run. And the crowds, again, they want him. They love him. Sorry for Kevin Owens. He's not really my thought when I come into this match. Man. I believe he is a really great worker. But right now, he's just a fluff in a pincushion. He's someone who you pin at this moment. Sorry. But I really want Randy Orton to win. And then Logan Paul can be like, screw you, and have a rematch at SummerSlam, and he wins. Richard.
So I was going to say, I'm very cool with that as being a result, but this is one thing I do want to say. This is a prediction within a prediction. I would pay very close attention to that match because I'm telling you, if Randy Orton doesn't win that match, my prediction is that Cody will win because that is a feud they are going to 1000% do, Cody and Randy Orton, so that they can talk about their history with Evolution. That feud is going to happen when Cody eventually wins that belt. I know that's going to happen. Because that's a money feud right there. So pay attention to that. But I agree. Let's see what happens. But Randy Orton, I'll be fine if he won. It's just I'm a Kevin Owens fan, but there's no way he's going to win this. And I don't know what they're doing with Kevin Owens. Maybe he'll get sent back to Raw. I don't know what they're doing with him. But, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I miss Evolution. I miss Triple H. He's not going to come and he's not going to wrestle. We all know what ICD is. Basically a pacemaker. If he gets hit the wrong way, homie can short circuit and it's not going to be good for him. So, next match we have is LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Yeah, versus Flat Earther.
That's funny. So I have to say immediately LA Knight because I am pissed off right now that LA Knight has not been pushed the way that he deserves to be pushed. And it's mostly because Cody, they're still pushing the Cody Rock stuff. I feel like if the Rock never showed up and they're finally completing that whole finish the story stuff, I think LA Knight was next to be on the top there. And now he's been knocked down quite a few pegs because of the Rock and everything else has overshadowed LA Knight. And I'm mad about that. So I hope LA Knight wins. That's my prediction.
Billy?
I also am hoping for LA Knight to win, and then they can send him to Raw right after this. Because obviously, you can't have him on this same show if he's not. I mean, they had him in the feud with Roman Reigns, but then you included Randy Orton in that feud as well. It's like you can't. There's too many stars on some of these shows. So I would prefer they send him to Raw after this. But he's probably going to win. But I do want to say this. I really like this version of AJ Styles. He did say he's going to have a different theme at WrestleMania. I want to hear what that theme is about. But I look forward to seeing what they do with him after this, because even if he loses, this guy is going to get to be a champion again in the future at some point in time before he retires. He does want to win the belt one more time. So, and that's another opponent for Cody when it comes down to it, when he eventually wins the belt. But no, I think LA Knight, it's his time for him to get attention. So yeah, he needs to win.
I think we should keep it consistent. Keep having LA Knight lose and he disappears. Here's the thing. I understand why people love LA Knight. To me, he is a carbon carpet. Here's the thing. Here's how I can get it interesting. I don't like LA Knight because he stole basically Steve Austin's gimmick. Steve Austin, he could easily come in there and screw things up for this whole situationship. So therefore, AJ Styles wins. You know, we can get an Austin LA Knight stare down. Doesn't mean that they'll fully wrestle or there even be a match. But this is WrestleMania. So I do believe that Austin will somehow make his way down there. And there can be a hell yeah, yell off between the two of them. So that's what I want more than anything.
I'm sorry. So I mean, I don't want to like take it as a tangent, but that was actually something that I wanted to ask both of you guys about, was the fact that Stone Cold, Undertaker, and John Cena are going to be in Philly, and if you had any thoughts on anything that was going to happen with them, like utilize them in any sense.
Well, Austin fits, like I said, with LA Knight. Undertaker, why is he here? He could just be like ambiance, you know? And we just had the Bray Wyatt thing where he narrated. So he's there for ambiance. He doesn't really have to interfere with anything. Because I'm trying to, wait, was it Cody? Who was the oh, that was Bray. Oh, God, now I'm going to cry. Because I was like, remember he spoke to somebody in the ring? And I realized that was Bray Wyatt. He said something in his ear. And then we don't have Bray. So, yeah, Undertaker, ambiance, I can't really think of anything in terms of what he can do and kind of incorporate himself into this. John Cena, he can be in anything. He's just John Cena at this point. I don't really know what he could do. Maybe co-host with Punk?
I think
that could be interesting. Yes, Richard.
That's possible. We'll see. So Undertaker, I don't know. Obviously, Undertaker has his show that he does, so he's probably going to be in town to do that. But he could still make an appearance on the show. We have to wait and see. You said Stone Cold, yes, him interacting with LA Knight, that 100% makes sense, because they really, the way they present LA Knight, it's like this guy really, this is like a modern day Stone Cold, just like in the last SmackDown, where he dressed up as the cameraman and then attacked AJ Styles. It's funny stuff, but we've seen this before. So I kind of feel like, I would like to see what Steve Austin thinks about this. So stay tuned for that. But for John Cena, my prediction, if Solo interferes in that match between Jim and Jay and Jimmy, John Cena is going to come out there and attack Solo, because Solo was the last person that beat John Cena before he took his hiatus. So that's how I think he'll be utilized. I don't know if he would come back for Roman Reigns, obviously, but he will definitely go after Solo if he gets involved in any of these matches. That's what I think how they'll probably utilize him.
Very nice with that. So then, I like that. Moving on, and then I wonder now what's going to happen with Lil Wayne. Who he's going to wrestle? Logan Paul. I don't know. And also Meek Mill, which just makes me laugh because did he? Anyway, so moving on, we do have the last match of the night. Well, we don't know the order, but on the card, we have Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament. What are your thoughts?
All right. I'm going to say something controversial that people may not like to hear. In my personal opinion, this match should be on the SmackDown before WrestleMania, not on the WrestleMania card. Now, I understand Bobby Lashley. I like Bobby Lashley a lot. I like the Street Profits. But this storyline, they've been flip-flopping with these attacks back and forth. I mean, and of course, the real feud is really between Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross. They were trying to do stuff with Karrion Kross now that you have Akam and Razor back. So I kind of feel like they should win it. But again, the interesting thing about this match was in the promo that Kross cut, where he said, I'm pretty sure that, what is it? I can't think of the name for a second. Yeah, he said Montez, it looks like he's going to be a single star. And he should really be the leader of that group. Something is going to happen with that, because I know we've heard for quite some time they wanted to give Montez a singles run. I don't know if that's going to happen at WrestleMania. It's going to happen soon, though. If it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, it'll probably happen after WrestleMania. But in terms of a winner, I have to go with the Final Testament. If they actually are going to do something with Karrion Kross, this is it. You can't have him go into a WrestleMania match and then lose the match. Unless, of course, he gets himself disqualified on purpose, then it is what it is. But Bobby Lashley will not be the one that gets pinned in that match. You can mark my word on that, because clearly they know they put a lot of value in him. So it may be Angelo Dawkins getting pinned. I mean, I don't know. But Final Testament is probably going to win the match if I had to make a guess. Or who knows? Maybe Angelo Dawkins will turn on Montez in that match.
Oh, no.
And then it's going to be something that happens. It's going to be something that happens. But I think Final Testament wins that match.
That would very much hurt if that happened. I think so. Opposite on that, I think Street Profits is going to win with Lashley. I don't think the company really has a big focus on Lashley. They don't really know what to do with him. He's been flip flopping with a lot of things lately, but I think the group together is really cool, and I think I love Authors of Pain. They're probably one of my favorite tag teams, but they don't have that much charisma and character, unfortunately. And that's a big thing that you need with the company. And Street Profits has that big time. The crowd loves them. So I see that they're probably going to be the ones to win, to give them even more of a push.
I agree with both of you. Here's why. You have to go back to WWE did a reality show on Hulu called WWE and Love, which was about Bianca and Montez. On that, one of the storylines was Montez wanting to break out and being a solo star. And his entire whole sick thing was him wrestling all these people in order to get WWE's attention. I believe, because everything is storyline based, even the reality shows, this is that entryway to maybe breaking up the Street Profits. Because in it was like, hey, Angelo, I love you. You're my homie, but you're too complacent right now. And so that complacency could cost them that match. And therefore, that's when we have the break of Street Profits. And Bobby, I don't know what they do with Bobby, but, he's upset because he lost a match. Don't know what happens here. But the whole thing, as you guys said before, it's really the feud with him and Karrion Kross. So that would be an interesting dynamic to make. I do want Karrion Kross, the Final Testament, to win, and because of this. Karrion Kross has not clicked since his return to, no, that wasn't his return. So, yeah, since his return and also his call-up from NXT. He just basically drowned. I didn't care at all about him. Even when they took off the mask, I just don't care. So he needs something to make us care. And I do believe that the Authors of Pain are a great tag team, but here's the issue. There's no charisma and there's no personality. Now, this is not for any belts, so it doesn't matter if the Final Testament wins, because I don't have to look at them being champions. They're not carrying the company on their back. So therefore, storyline-wise, it would make sense for me for the Final Testament to win so that Karrion Kross can do something, and you have the Street Profits break up, because you've been teasing this whole storyline through a reality show that, you want to be doing single stuff. So therefore, that works that way. Yeah, that's just kind of how I see it going at this point. So that's kind of my thoughts there. So that is the entire card, unless something changes on SmackDown, which I don't think it would be. I don't know. I don't think SmackDown. I don't know if SmackDown is live.
No, they have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal happening on Friday.
See, here's the thing with Andre the Giant Battle Royal with that is they never do anything with it.
Yep.
So it's like, hey, I won. Okay, what does that mean? Because remember, it's supposed to lead up to a championship match. But they never do anything with it. So Do we care?
I don't care, but we'll see what happens. I mean, there's some people in it that that it could be interesting. I know that what's his name, JD McDonough is not going to win it, so that's for certain. That'll be when the Judgment Day stuff really starts. They're gonna be like, oh, what happened? What happened, JD? You didn't win the battle royal. That's when it will start, Friday night. So stay tuned for that.
So do you have any predictions for who you would want to win?
I don't know.
We have Cedric, Alex. There's like a bunch of people.
I don't know who all is in. I don't know who was all in the match, but I think it's probably going to be Chad Gable, so that they give him something, because he's not on the WrestleMania card at all, unless of course there's a last minute change and they add him to this other match. But no, I think it's Chad Gable. I would say Ricochet, but I don't know.
He means something. So we do have Cedric Alexander, Ashante's a good Adonis, Kit Wilson, Elton Prince, Cameron Grimes, Veer, Senga, Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, Ivar, Tozawa, Otis, JD McDonough, Apollo Crews, Andrade, Ricochet, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, Shinsuke, and Amos.
Bronson Reed.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
Bronson Reed. I could see that. I mean, maybe Andrade. The company loved Andrade before he left. Who knows if they want to push him again, or maybe they got, or maybe things have soured between them because he left. But who knows? But my thing's on Bronson.
I definitely think they will be in the final four or whatever the number is of the final couple of people in it. So yeah, but Bronson Reed is good. Bronson Reed is good, a good pick. Yeah,
I go with Bronson as well. Even though Ricochet has been fighting for his life to get some attention.
I love Ricochet so much. Oh. It's maddening how they haven't utilized him right.
I will say this: they have not utilized Ricochet right, but Ricochet won at life. His wife. This guy won at life. So I'm not mad about any of that. So he'll be all right. He'll figure out. WWE will eventually give him another title or some sort. But we'll see.
Isn't he like producing backstage or something like that? Like he spends most of his time backstage doing like production work or something, or
that's possible.
I think that's what he does. It's probably content with that.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe.
I like him, but even though WWE may not be utilizing him well, then I can definitely utilize him well on WWE 2K24. So there you go.
I gotta jump on that.
So that is kind of our wrap up of everything and our thoughts and our predictions. So is there any final thoughts from either of you two?
Nothing in particular, just excited to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bailey?
I'm looking forward to I was not looking forward to WrestleMania, I will be honest. But obviously when you had CM Punk return, you had The Rock return, now I am interested, and Drew McIntyre, this guy has been on a roll ever since his heel turn. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I do believe there will be some surprises. And one final thing I will mention. Now, I have not yet seen this Bray Wyatt documentary, but I heard at the end of that documentary, they tease the return of Bo Dallas. And Bo Dallas is supposed to come back sometime this year. So I want to see when that happens. That makes me very excited.
I really wanted to pick up where Bray left off.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be awesome.
This is how we utilize John Cena. John Cena's match was with Bray.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. Mm-hmm.
And we could utilize something with Bo.
Oh, John Cena comes out, talks to the crowd, and then gets attacked.
You think he's gonna come in as like the Mr. Howdy thing, though?
Wasn't that what he was teased?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes, he was, but I'm just curious. I mean, I'm curious what you guys think if he's gonna continue that because that was Bray's baby.
I don't see in a way. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. You go first.
No, I was gonna say. Remember, they had the evolution of the costume. What Bray wanted before he died. And it was like that new mask.
Amazing. It was awesome.
What if that's Bo?
I'd be happy.
I mean,
I love the design.
I'm crying.
I definitely need to watch it. I know it's like a 2-hour documentary. I'm gonna watch it before either tomorrow or something before WrestleMania. But what I understand though is Bo Dallas did say that him and Bray had a plan together about what they were going to do. So I would love to see that come to life. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. And obviously, I think that a lot of people who work with Bray, such as Alexa Bliss, whenever she returns, or even Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman is still recovering, I definitely think they could be a part of that as well, whenever they do whatever they're going to do. So should be interesting.
Return of Eric Rowan.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I don't know what he's doing now. So yeah, that'll be awesome.
I don't know. Oh, now I'm crying. So, that is our show. You have anything to plug, Richard?
Well, there is nothing to plug at the moment. I would just say stay tuned. There's a lot of things coming to the Koalition. We will be talking about some other shows in the future, some other movies, and of course, Power. So stay tuned.
Yes. Danny?
Mostly just any of our viewers or listeners out there, if you guys are into gaming, majority of the contributions I do with the Koalition is gaming stuff and game reviews and things. Check out the website, check out the Koalition Gaming YouTube channel as well. Hopefully we will be posting up a lot more gaming content video wise as well, but we got lots and lots of content on the website.
And then as for me, you'll see interviews from a bunch of people. So that'll be posted up. Getting there. There's a lot of content. There's a lot. Cinema content next week. Blessings. So we got that, and go see Monkey Man, because that was the second greatest movie of 2024. Next to Doom Part 2.
I'm gonna watch that tomorrow now.
Okay. So that is our show. Thank you so much for staying with us, and we will see you next time when we see you. Enjoy WrestleMania and NXT TakeOver and all of the other WrestleMania weeks, because it's going to be weekend. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.